Today we've got another incredible lineup for you. We review Metal Gear Solid 4, we got our hands on the Resident Evil 5 demo, plus lots more. You just entered the lab.
The Phantom is trying to disappear.
In today's review, we look at Unreal Tournament 3 and Metal Gear Solid 4, both for the PS3. If you're into fast-paced, never-ending frag matches, then this one's for you. From as far back as the Dreamcast and N64, I can remember people going crazy over Fragfest. Games like Quake, Counter-Strike, and Unreal Tournament. I was never interested. I would go out and pick up games like Quake 3 Arena and Outrigger for the Dreamcast, only to be terribly disappointed after finding out the game was just one huge frag match. You run about hours on end shooting the same people over and over, with what in my opinion was done with very little room for strategy. So yes, it's because of games like those why I was never interested in death matches and so on. But as time and the quality of video games progressed, titles like Call of Duty and Medal of Honor started popping up. And when engaging in online multiplayer, the games just seemed to make more sense, and so I got into it and learned to appreciate them more. I'm quite fond of them now actually.
Attack the primary.
Now I've gone back to the roots, so to speak, where a lot of this all started, Unreal Tournament. Here's what I think of Part 3.
So that makes you a general?
No, but these spawners completely changed the war, and nobody knows spawners like Attorney Champ.
First, let me talk graphics. This game looks a lot like Gears of War, and rightfully so. It's made by the same guys, Epic, with the same Unreal Engine. I'll have to say the cinematic cutscenes are really nice. In that gritty PS3 kind of way, real nice. The quality of these cutscenes make you want to sit and watch them, so a definite plus for the cutscenes. Unfortunately, the quality of the graphics fell for the in-game. I hate it when this happens. Some might disagree simply because it wasn't that great a drop in quality, but there was a drop nonetheless. I see a significant difference, but then significant is subjective. Go back and take a look at Gears of War. Both in-game and cutscenes look incredible.
So the Ronin have a master, huh?
Damn, son, you ever shut up?
Another up point, the voice acting. Well done. Now, even though they seem to have had to push the whole tough guy image for each character as much as they could, it still worked. The characters always had to be saying things and sounding really over the top in the one-liners department. But then, what do you expect from a game with characters that go by names like Blaine? So thumbs up for the voice acting. I thought the weapons and other futuristic gadgets were also pretty cool. Some of the guns were just too far-fetched for me, like this one that shoots out some kind of strange goo. You know, this is one of the reasons why I'll always prefer a Call of Duty over a Halo. Yes, Halo is an incredible 10 out of 10 game, but at the end of it all, I much prefer that level of realism. You know, a bullet over a laser beam, flak jacket over a force field. This brings me to what I don't like about the weapons in Unreal 3. First up, no ADS, that's aim down the sight. You cannot aim down the sight of your weapon. You will have to shoot from the hip 90% of the time. When using the sniper rifle, if you opt for the secondary fire mode, you can use that to aim down the sight. But this is more a distraction than anything else. This is not Medal of Honor. Now props to any of you out there who do well as a sniper in Unreal 3. But me, I really don't see how you'd find the time. The game is so fast paced, the competition is so aggressive. I hardly ever find a spot to perch quietly and take people out. Then there's the melee controls, or lack thereof. It's like you have to switch to another weapon to do this. A mess in my opinion, especially since the game is so fast paced. Melee should be nothing more than a press of a button. Didn't these guys play Call of Duty? Let me give you my take first on the good parts of the campaign mode. The campaign mode in Unreal 3 is basically nothing more than a glorified training mission. That's all. It gets you prepared for the real test, online multiplayer. Because that's all this game really is, an online multiplayer frag festival. Now, after going through the campaign mode, which is what I recommend to any noob, you'll have a greater understanding of Unreal 3. It takes you through all the variations of gameplay, all the gadgets, all the objective styles. You get to understand the death matches, the war zone, and capture the flag, and so on. So this is a great tutorial, basically.
Heading toward East Node.
So that's the good points of the campaign mode. Here's the bad. The bad is how disappointed I was. You see, like I told you in the beginning, this is not my type of game. When I played Quake for the first time on the N64, even though I wasn't that great on the first-person shooter thing, I really liked it. Then I played Quake 3 Arena and realized it was just frag matches and decided no more Quake. But then I played Quake 4 for the 360. In this version, you are given an option of playing the great campaign mode or online multiplayer. This made perfect sense. A little something for all of us. So when I saw Unreal 3 and read that it also had a campaign mode, I was excited, really wanted to jump into this. But then I played it and realized there was no real campaign mode. You can imagine my displeasure. Other good points of Unreal 3 though are things like the various vehicles you can use. Your guys even have hoverboards that makes it a lot easier to move from point A to B, especially in Warzone mode. Then thanks to USB ports, you can use a keyboard and mouse or the 6-axis. I've always heard that playing first-person shooters with a keyboard and mouse gave you an advantage over console users, but the 6-axis with all the controller customizations holds its own.
Not a shuttle, a fighter. A good enough pilot could get past that blockade.
I'm on it.
I'd have to say two of the worst things about Unreal Tournament 3 aren't really that bad. It's the fast pace of the game, which can get a bit crazy at times, especially if you're like me who loves realism and strategy. But whether or not you are, it still doesn't make it a bad thing. Once you pick up a game like Unreal Tournament, you should know what to expect. It's just that kind of game, and it does what it's supposed to do very well. Then there's the campaign mode. Good because it gives you an in-depth tutorial that fully prepares you for online multiplayer, especially if you cranked it up to the insane difficulty. Bad because playing Unreal frag matches against the CPU, even when teamed up with a friend online, is still a drag. Like I explained earlier, it isn't really a campaign mode. So I'll have to put all bias aside and give Unreal Tournament 3 an 8 out of 10. Stick around gamers, our review of Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots is next.